Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. These are strange times, and so we're studying Revelation 9 today because we're talking about the god Apollo from the Olympics. Yeah, Apollo's listed in Revelation chapter 9. He's also been extolled in the recent Olympics, and he relates to, say, Lucifer, to Hasatan, but it's the Olympics, and we're going to cover it because they really did it big time this time. So this is from a guy by the name of Donut that I've been noticing lately. His comments are: the world loves death. We're in a worldwide death cult. And Jacob Israel talks about this too. They're talking about there's something like a time frame of Kali Yuga cycles. I'm not going to cover much of that today, just mention that it's interesting. And you can see from all the scenes here that it was all demonic with the Olympics, especially the beginning and the end. You know, the athletes are fine, but obviously there were demonic people involved with this. So we do the philosophy of what you need to know to get through the end times. We're talking about the Olympics again today because it was just satanic. So this is from Maria Zakharova from Russia. And so she is, I can't remember, I think she's the Ministry of something or other. And so here it is. Okay, Russian's foreign ministry spokesperson. Okay. And so she called it obvious Satanism. No veil, halftones or hints. Everything is in plain text. A fallen angel turns people into zombies, subjugates humanity to his will, which has less and less time left. So we'll talk about the clock aspect too. It never occurred to anyone to put forward the favorite argument, you're all lying. It's gaslighting. In response to such obvious Satanism. This is her speaking. Timid attempts to evaluate the ceremony from the point of view of theatrical art and directing large mass events without realizing the main thing. We're drowned into the groans of those who saw the light. Portray the diversity of life and culture on the earth. But yeah, and to extraterrestrials. That's what she's stating. There's just this weird gods, small g, and extraterrestrials involved. And so the only thing worse than the opening of the Olympic Games in Paris would be their closing. That's what she said. So very interesting. This is from Ollie London and also Maria's exact quotes. Very interesting. So they have this golden Voyager that I liken to Apollo. They have something called thugs. We'll cover that. That is based on Shiva and more of the I'm blanking on that particular Hindu faith. This all occurred during the Dire Straits. So during Israel's darkest hours, we have the Olympics just cursing and cursing and cursing. We also have Nike, Nikeo, which would be to overcome, and she was headless. They purposely portrayed her as headless, along with Marie Antoinette, who was portrayed as headless. Very interesting time frame. It was macabre. It just was. It was Apollo worship at the Olympics, and we'll cover all of those things. So the Olympics always were pagan, no doubt about it. It was a festival for Zeus. Apollo was part of this, and so there's the father and the son connection there. You know what I'm talking about. Zeus holding the thunderbolt, and so it's like a light issue. There is the light of the gods, which is evil, and then there's the light of Messiah, which is wonderful. We call it Ner Mashiach. And so just keep this in mind. They have priestesses, they have this is a film from 1976, Greece, Olympic flame ignited on altar of Zeus in ancient Olympia. So it's all related to that. It's a pagan torch. The torch is important on both sides. The light of Mashiach, and the light of Zeus. So it's just interesting. Nietzsche, a philosopher from 100 years ago, said, it seems as though there are two different phases for mankind. There's the Apollo phase, which is thoughtful, or there's Dionysus, which is wild, crazy chaos. Okay. And so, of course, Nietzsche went nuts during the end of his life. The main thing is that Apollo is a god that's evil. He is, in the Bible, he is called the destroyer, and Dionysus definitely is chaotic and just, drugs and sex and rock and roll and alcohol, obviously. So, this is from Revelation chapter 9, verses 11. They have over them a Melech, a king, the Malach, the angel of the Tehom, the abyss, the Abuso. The name for him in the Greek is Abaddon, that is destruction, and in the Eleniki, or I'm sorry, in the Ivrit, that's Hebrew, is Abaddon, and that is destruction. And in the Hellenist, the Eleniki, he has the name Apollyon, that is destroyer. So there are other citations to this, and so what I want you to say, also is there are thugs involved. Yes, we'll talk about that in terms of Kali. But I believe they were summoning and conjuring the god Apollo during the Olympics, and we'll see if you agree with me. So once again, the torch is involved. The Olympics started out, over 2,000 years ago, and then they died out as Christianity grew. Christianity got sick and tired of naked people running around and all the paganism and alcoholism and sex and things like that. So as the Roman history became more Christian, they just ran the Olympics out. Well, it's come back, and it started in 1896, and then for this reason, the new purpose-built museum was erected in 1897. The first Pergamum Museum was built between 1897 and 1899 by Fritz Wolff and opened in 1901, just in time for World War I, which was brewing at that point in time, with the unveiling of a bust of Carl Humann, who, found all of these seat of Satan artifacts and brought them up to Germany, to Berlin, to the Museum Island, and really brought the curses over. So just so you're aware that those types of things involved in this time frame are the fire that burns people like Antipas. So Revelation 2:13 talks about, I know where you are living, there where the adversary's throne is, yet you are holding on to my name. You did not deny trusting me, even at a time when my faithful witness Antipas was put to death in your town, where the adversary lives. So we know what's going on with this connection. The torch can be the torch that lights believers on fire, and that seems to be what we're coming up to. So once again, the Olympic torch restarted in 1896, and then the Pergamum Museum was restarted in 1897, which seemed to have launched World War I and World War II. Just keep it in mind. So once again, all of the paganism that occurred was very fast at the beginning, at the opening ceremony. The fourth horseman seemed to be that pale horse, okay? And I argue that the pale horse man is riding. The fifth seal martyrs, well, we have Marie Antoinette singing, and I'll cite more in a moment, but basically I'm saying that she died on Cheshvan 10, which is coming up in November of this year. We'll just see what happens during that time frame. Passover, yes, they mocked Passover with this particular woman. And then the blue man, I'll cite all sorts of things, but I want you to see the pictures once again. Dionysus is likened after the goat demon because his favorite friend is Pan, who's a goat boy. He's a party animal. They're both drunk all the time. And so you've got the Apollo chaos, and then you've got the Dionysus chaos. And Nietzsche mentioned both of those things. But Shiva's involved too because of the blue color. So we'll discuss more of that, and I'll try to show you what's going on. Other things that are bothersome from the beginning of the Olympics are the hat, the Phrygian cap, which Aleister Crowley showed that that's connected to, say, death and Satanism and things like that. The torch was involved, of course. The assassin was one of their chief characters. We'll show you him in a little bit. Marie Antoinette was there. This is, once again, the donut factory, the donut guy, and he's saying it was just a satanic Olympics, and I agree with him. So this is from TMZ, and they're showing you, I'll just read it to you. The Olympics opening ceremony kicked off with one of the wildest starts ever, a castle full of beheaded Marie Antoinettes, I think it was 18, rocking out to heavy metal, death metal, and boy, was it a sight. The performance over in Paris Friday was electrifying. Heavy metal band Gojira. When you think of Gojira, think of oh goodness, I'm blanking on the name of the Japanese characters. Swamp Monster, Godzilla. Gojira is another version of that, very similar. So they named themselves after Leviathan from the Bible, okay? And teamed up with opera singer Marina Viotti to kick things off with a headbanging revolution, while all the Marie Antoinettes sang along with the famous revolutionary song, Ah Sa Ira. Horrible song. All about death. I'll show you that in a couple of seconds here. Next slide. So the red signifies blood. The ship bringing in the blood. She's singing, and they're rocking out to this. The torch, it's Zeus' torch. Marie Antoinette's go heavy metal. Yeah, the head rolling mash. mashup. Wow. And so it's this is Paris. This is godlessness. So why do the gods parade by torchlight? Why do the Nazis parade by torchlight? What is the deal with this? The Ku Klux Klan parades by torchlight. This is from the Atlantic magazine. Then you have one of the seven wonders of the ancient world and our Statue of Liberty with the torch aspect. There's something godless about it. There's something about the small g gods about it. So this was on the right-hand side, torchlight parade celebrating Hitler from 1933. Always the torches. It's odd. The gods parade by torchlight. So just notice that. So Zeus again with his torchlight. You've got the torchlight of Snoop Dogg, but that's also what he wore. In addition to that was his Lucifer necklace. Yeah, so Baphomet. So let's talk about the light bringer, the torch bringer on the bad side. So how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, light bringer, torch bringer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Isaiah 14:12 through 14. So what you've got is this satanic connection to the light bringer, the torch bringer, Lucifer, which is Hillel in the Hebrew, and really, Hasatan. Okay, so once again, they celebrated by having 18 Marie Antoinettes singing Asa Ira, which is glorifying death, and she was the beginning of that time frame in 1893 where they beheaded 17,000 people. So keep that in mind, and so I'm telling you to watch out. Back then, it was 10/16 of 1793, but it will be November, probably about 10th, I think, this year would be that time frame where you would celebrate the false Yom Kippur, and then you would also have a false Sukkot, which is actually 1 Kings 12. You would see Jeroboam and Rehoboam, and so you just note that there's a false Sukkot. Okay, so just be aware of it. Once again, Asa Ira is one of those demonic songs that you sing when people are being beheaded. And it's everything will be all right. No, it really not. Okay. So during the Reign of Terror, a 10-month period of the French Revolution that lasted from summer or autumn of 1793 to summer of 1794, 17,000 people were officially tried and executed. That's from AI. Gojira, the French metal band, slayed during the 2024 Olympics. Opening ceremony on Friday, the quartet performed Asa Ira, a song popular during the French Revolution outside the concierge, next to the dozens of headless figures of Marie Antoinette. Demonic. That's what they sang. It'll be fine? No, not really. So the woman that portrayed Jesus said, oh yes, the New Gay Testament. So she was mocking, everybody was planning on mocking God. Once again, linking Godzilla and Gojira. On the right-hand side, you see all the other characters, Gojira. Obviously, it's a death metal band, and so that they were covering their song. So, okay, so going on, we have the closing ceremonies, and I'm claiming this is Watcher-based. And once again, this is during the 9th of Ab time frame, just almost to that point, but they were singing the hymn to Apollo. And I argue that he's a watcher. And so is this Apollo coming down from the sky? Possibly. He would technically be under the ground right now. Is he a fallen angel? I would argue so. So anyway, pianist Elaine Roche performed the hymn to Apollo during the closing ceremony of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games at the Stade de France in Paris, France, August 11th, 2024. The Golden Voyager carries the national flag of Greece, which is of gods and paganism during the closing ceremony of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, once again on August 11th. So that's what I think they're talking about. I'm arguing that these particular creatures that are nameless, faceless, things like that, they're called thugs. And I'll show you that from Shiva, okay, from the Hindu religion. And also how CERN was so close by, and their main character for CERN is Shiva, and opening up the gates to the underworld. Okay, so they're trying to open up demonic portals. That's CERN, that's Shiva, that's the thugs. You'll see all the connection to this. So once again, the thugs. And so Shiva is lord of the thugs. And why do they need the Shiva statue at CERN? Well, because it's all about curses. And so we'll get to it. But remember, just Blue and Destroyer. It's just weird. So in terms of what people are looking at, I want you to see Apollo the Destroyer. A large portion of CERN is located in the territory of San Janis Poli. In Roman times, it was called Apolliacum. The town and a temple were dedicated to Apollyon the Destroyer, which is Revelation 9:11. And so just keep that in mind. He's the angel of the bottomless pit, and his name is Abaddon, or he's Apollyon. And so God's warning about that in Revelation chapter 9. And also, for your struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of the dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians 6:12. That's what we're coming into. Apollyon is in the abyss right now, and he's going to be released. And they've been trying to open these portals to Apollyon. Okay, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to accomplish this. And these are the thugs again, and I'll explain that more from the religion. I have a slide on that and a couple of slides ahead. But thugs, portals, things like that, CERN, all related, all curses. Nike, once again, is overcome, and so she is headless, and they portrayed her that way on purpose. Once again, I'm saying the Golden Voyager is Apollo, and this is from NBC Sports, and glorifying it. And there it is, the angel of the abyss, whose name was Abaddon or Apollyon. So what's happening then? There is nothing surprising in that, for the adversary himself masquerades as an angel of light, so it's no great thing if his workers masquerade as servants of righteousness. They will meet the end their deeds deserve. 1 Corinthians 11:14 through 15. Once again, the Golden Voyager, which is Apollo, is supposed to be the Génie de la Liberté, and no, it's probably more like Apollo. So, and these are the 33rd Olympics during the closing. Very interesting, that number 33rd. Very, very interesting. The Golden Voyager performs. Yep. Is there anything in there? Yeah, it's just. Oh, I wanted you to see the cross. So look in the midst of the Golden Voyager and look for the cross right there. It's just plain and simple. Okay, and then look for the wreath on Apollo. His wreath reminds me of the wreath that you would see on the first horseman. So just notice they are telling us in symbolic, satanic terms that something's going on, that they are cursing the world. They are summoning, conjuring, things like that. And so let's continue on here. So when this golden whatever, Voyager came falling down out of heaven, he looked like the Hanged Man from the tarot cards. So it's no surprise that the 33rd Olympic Games in Paris closed with a ceremony dedicated to the rebirth of Lucifer, the lightbringer of enlightenment. The show started with the Golden Voyager descending from the sky like Lucifer's fall from heaven, leg bent and positioned like the Hanged Man, who in the occult represents the ultimate surrender. This is Here Comes Trouble, which is Kara Helen Mosher. Okay, so she's probably Jewish. The Golden Voyager is a tie back to the Voyager identical photograph records, which NASA launched aboard the 1977 Voyager spacecrafts. The records contain sounds and images portrayed. So it's a record, and so it's a record recorded for aliens, okay? And so it's just interesting to see that. Thank you again, Kara, for that information. And NASA connected in on this, which is interesting. And then there is that Golden Voyager. It looks more like a woman than a man to me. And so highlighting the record, beings of light and knowledge, things like that. So it's just all paganism. Okay, and then during that time frame, a golden UFO was caught on video by a plane passenger, plus other amazing sightings, 8/15 of 2024. So, this is from UFO Mania. Very interesting to see a golden UFO caught during the time frame of the Golden Voyager. So then, Here Comes Trouble again from Kara Helen Mosher. Next, Lucifer rises from the gray ashes, represented by the show by a glowing orange-black piano, grand piano, suspended in midair, rising from the ground. It's like a phoenix thing. The piano player rises with it dressed in black feathers, which is really just VHS tape. It's interesting. The costume representing the mythical phoenix, an immortal bird that cyclically regenerates or is otherwise reborn or born again. Then, by no coincidence, a French band named Phoenix performs. Good job. Thanks, Kara. So the spectacle ends with Tom Cruise jumping up and the clip of him skydiving into Hollywood, landing over the games in LA, the 2028 host city, the city of angels, more fallen angels from Lucifer to enlighten. None of this Luciferian rebirth system symbolism in the Olympic ceremonies should be a shock to anyone. The ancient Olympians were pagans, searching for enlightenment, and it seems that they are still chasing the light of this illusion today. Very interesting. She did a great job with that. And they're singing the hymn to Apollo as the Phoenix performs and singing the hymn to Apollo. Just interesting. So once again, I'm likening the whole earth has been ruined by this fallen angel Azazel or Apollo. The thugs again, we'll get to that in a couple of slides. And then the assassin again on the right-hand side. And then that being that rode on the pale horse, and then the golden Voyager. Weird. So the bull symbolism, the bull from 2022, the Commonwealth Games, the bull that was symbolized in this particular opening ceremony, and then the bull on the outside of the building. The stage for the Olympic Games opening was set up near the Trocadero Gardens fountains, explaining the appearance of the bull's head and the leaping fear in the frame during the flag raising. Yeah, whatever. Okay. They're rejecting the God of Israel, that's for sure, because we see that from Moses and we see that from the Israelites leaving Egypt. Then also the triangles, they'll call it the symbol of peace, but it's really just that it's Illuminati, okay, it's Masonic, and you can see the symbolism on the upper left-hand side there, and evil systems being activated worldwide, whatever, okay. And so I think that's Donut again, but it was just, no, that's Josh Hartnett, but it's still interesting. You can see Tom Cruise and I don't know what his name is now, Jesus, whatever, these weird little hand gestures. And on the right-hand side, look for the Eiffel Tower to be in that pattern and the A to be in that pattern. It's all Masonic. It's all a ritual. It's their godlike rituals. So closing death, thug cult of Snoop, Baphomet, outrage over Snoop Dogg, satanic necklace. Yes, he had a Baphomet necklace. It's the Zeus flame on the other one. He is a thug hero. So what are the thugs? I've been talking about the thugs, so let's talk about them. So the Thuggee were believed to be basically worshippers and thugs of the Kali. Okay, their killings as a form of worship towards the goddess Kali. For centuries, the authorities of the Indian subcontinent, such as the Khalja dynasty and the Mughal Empire of the British Raj, attempted to curtail the criminal activities of the Thuggee during their ruling times. This is Wikipedia, and so Kali likes to behead people, but then the thugs like to thug people, and so it's just, that's what thugs are, and that's what I think was portrayed. So you've got the blue, which is Kali, and you've got the thugs involved, and then the beheadings, and that's all part of this. So there's this cycle of Kali Ya. So once again, we kind of showed it a little bit at first, but there's these various cycles, and they're arguing that we're in the Kali cycle, which is a down cycle, and then it will be moving forward into something much worse, chaos. And so Kali Yuga. Interesting, okay? So the closing ceremony was full of dark imagery suggesting the opening of a portal overseen by a horde of demonic beings and Lucifer himself. Some suggest the portal was about conjuring ancient Greek gods, but dig deep enough and you'll find that they are all the same thing, fallen angels. From Rhoda Wilson, thank you very much. Excellent quote. So the Kali Yuga is the final age. It lasts only 1/10 of the cycle, which would be where we seem to be going right now. During the same time frame, it's interesting that Sicily's Mount Etna erupts, closing Catania airport. The eruption of Sicily's Mount Etna sent ash and lava gases high into the sky on Thursday. Well, what date was that? 8/15 of 2024, right after they closed down. Etna, the largest active volcano in Europe, stands about 3,300 meters, just over 11,000 feet. Its height can vary with eruptions. The volcano, down on the bottom, Etna has been a near constant state of activity for thousands of years. In Greek and Roman mythology, the gods of blacksmithing, somebody in Vulcan, both had their forges under Mount Etna to produce lightning bolts for Zeus and Jupiter. Do you see the connection? Okay. Time is running out. This is their symbolism of the world, but I want you to look less at how the continents are portrayed and more at the symbolism of the midnight. So you've got a clock going on there. You've got the hour hand is facing up towards midnight, and then you've got the minute hand facing at about 20 minutes. So you've got about 40 minutes to midnight, and that's what they're trying to tell you. The time is running out. And also they're trying to show you this crazy dog over here like Snoop Dogg. Well, that is the Anubis dog. And so that is from Egypt, and the symbolism, LA in 2028, Baphomet chain, Anubis dog, all this stuff. So you can see the Anubis all over it. That's what they're talking about. And this is, again, from the Donut Factory. Thank you very much for giving me that information. So to end things up, basically, having created a satanic ritual for the Olympic Games opening ceremony, artistic director Thomas Jolly ended as he had begun. The closing ceremony, writes Winston Smith, was an homage to Lucifer. Once again, that's Rhoda Wilson. And very interesting. So I'm arguing this is Apollyon. They're conjuring, they are summoning, they're trying to get him released from the abyss, and they're trying to give us Apollo, which is evil, but also they'll try to give us Dionysus, who is drunk evil. So it's going to be horrible as we go forward. So where are we? We're in the birth pangs. We are not in the tribulation, not in the great tribulation. We are dealing with the paganism as we lead up to the fifth seal of martyrdom. I'm arguing that it could potentially begin this fall after Hashvan 10, which seems to be symbolic in what they were showing us. Where are we? We are trying to get to the marriage, to the wedding ceremony with Yeshua, either on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or Sukkot of a future year. You need clean garments. You can't be naked. You need to work on that. You need to be blessed by God. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk to you hopefully in a week. God